The top stories tonight in Y News. The government carries out a simulation of the arrival of the coronavirus disease vaccines in the Philippines from abroad.
The palace rejects the Communist Party of the Philippines' suggestion to let civilian humanitarian agencies deliver vaccines in far-flung areas.
The Quezon City government waives market rental fees for meat vendors. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque denies violating health protocols after a diving trip in Boracay.
The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology allays fears over swelling of TAAL volcano's crater.
And South Korea launches its free COVID-19 test for pet cats and dogs. Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Tuesday, February 9, 2021. I am Harleen Delgado.
Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the country and in other parts of the world. I am Kat Dumaraos.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media accounts and our website, untvweb.com. I am William Theo.
First in the news. The government conducted today its final rehearsal on the handling of COVID-19 vaccines once it arrives in the country 2 to 3 days from now. The simulation's time was shorter than the government's estimated time of completion, but the National Task Force still wants to reduce the deployment time. Our health correspondent, Aiko Miguel, will give us the details of the report live. Yes, Aiko?
Yes, Arlene, it was past 10 in the morning when dummy COVID-19 vaccines were unloaded from an airplane at NAIA Terminal 2. The unloading of cargoes containing COVID-19 vaccines to the customs clearance and transfer to refrigerated vans lasted for only almost 20 minutes. This is faster compared to the 45 minutes estimated time of the government. The transport from NAIA Terminal 2 to RITM in Muntinlupa also only lasted for 20 minutes. The unloading of vaccines, receiving at RITM, inspection and storage to the cold storage facility of RITM had a run of 83 minutes. The total run of the whole process lasted 125 minutes, which is faster compared to the 150 minutes or 2.5 hours estimated time of the National Task Force. Here is Vaccine Czar Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. and Health Secretary Francisco Duque III.
Ibig sabihin pagka nakatipid ka ng time at saka walang major defect at saka nakita natin na walang major hiccups, ibig sabihin nun okay yun. And then talagang gagawin natin is we want na ma-perfect natin talaga yung time and motion. Yung kung i-rate po natin, nasa 80% po tayo from 100.
So yung end-to-end chain of transport, distribution to the actual vaccination sites. Every step of the way, meron kaming inilaan na panahon o ilang minuto. So, itong simulation exercise is to see kung yung inilaan namin na minuto, okay, bawat hakbang, naayon ba yung actual performance, naayon ba dun sa planned time allotted. No? So far, gaya na sinabi ni Secretary Galvez, so far so good.
However, the officials said this should be made faster from the unloading to delivery in cold storage facilities. The NTF officials also said that the customs pre-clearance helped to fast-track the process. Like the directive of President Duterte, customs will no longer have to open and inspect the cargo of COVID-19 vaccines when they arrive in the Philippines. Officials also estimate that the preparation of COVID-19 vaccines from RITM to health facilities that will receive the vaccine should only last for 30 minutes. But during the simulation earlier, it lasted for 47 minutes. This, as explained, because vaccines were prepared for 3 hospitals in Metro Manila. There were also vaccines that were prepared for facilities in Cebu and Davao City that will serve as vaccine central hubs in 2 other regions in the country. The DOH explains the process should also be better so no COVID-19 vaccines will be put to waste on the actual rollout.
Dapat no room for error. No human error as much possible. Lahat automated yung ginagawa po natin.
Arlene experts also explain the process should be faster, but the potency of vaccines should not be compromised.
Through the delivery of these vaccines, we have the opportunity to rewrite history and beat the pandemic brought about by COVID-19. Our goal is to achieve herd immunity. Our goal is to protect everyone.
Arlene, the simulation done today is set for the rollout of 117,000 doses of Pfizer-BioNTech from the COVAX facility expected to arrive indicatively by mid-February. Another simulation will also be conducted for the arrival of an estimate of 5.5 to 9.2 million AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine doses late February or early March. The National Task Force will again conduct a final simulation 2 to 3 days before the actual arrival and rollout of COVID-19 vaccines, but this will be done internally among authorities, part of the government's vaccination plan. And that is the latest live. Back to you, Harley.
Thank you, Aiko Miguel, reporting live.
Meanwhile, President Rodrigo Duterte is looking at using public school buildings and military camps as centers for the COVID-19 mass vaccination drive expected to be rolled out this month. In his public address on Monday night, the president said military camps and public schools would suffice if there are no available venues, especially in urban areas that are big enough to accommodate large crowds of people. The president has initially ordered it to conduct immunizations in police stations and military installations in far-flung areas. However, he noted that it would be a different scenario in urban areas as police stations or military installations there would not be enough to accommodate vaccine recipients.
Mga local officials, sila lang ang mamili sa mga gymnasiums o kung kulang talaga, then my order is to utilize the public school. Hindi pa naman ginawala pa naman klase.
The Communist Party of the Philippines suggested that the vaccine delivery in far-flung areas be handled by civilian humanitarian agencies like the Philippine Red Cross. However, the government vows to stick with its vaccine rollout plan. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
The palace rejected the suggestion of the Communist Party of the Philippines, or CPP, to not let the military deliver the vaccines in far-flung areas. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque acknowledged that they have freedom of speech, but he insisted that officials will still adhere to the government's vaccination rollout plan.
We have a rollout plan. Yun po ang masusunod kahit anong sabihin pa ng CPP-NPA. Number 2, I guess they have freedom of expression, but they are tagged as a terrorist group. So parang they can express their opinion, but hanggang dun lang po yan.
Earlier, CPP spokesperson Marco Valbuena strongly suggested that the vaccine delivery in far-flung areas be handled by the International Committee of the Red Cross and the Philippine Red Cross and other civilian humanitarian agencies, adding that they are more fit to handle the transportation, distribution, and inoculation because of their medical training. Balbuena added that non-Red Cross vehicles that will be used as COVID-19 vaccine transporters must be clearly marked. In a taped speech aired late Monday night, President Rodrigo Duterte appealed to the CPP to let the safe and smooth transportation of vaccines in various parts of the country.
The Communist Party of the Philippines must guarantee that the vaccines in the course of their being transported to areas where are no city health officers or medical persons na huwag ninyong galawin ang medisina. Allow the vaccines to be transported freely and safely.
He also directed all government employees involved in the receipt, transportation, and distribution of vaccines not to be the cause of delay for the distribution.
Do not delay and do not hinder or obstruct the smooth flow na nakikita ninyo ngayon. From the time of the arrival to the time of clearance, the PNP should provide escorts that would ensure the fastest way of for the vaccines to arrive in their storage, even in the matter of transporting it from one facility to the other.
Once COVID-19 vaccines arrive in the country, President Duterte wants to ensure the safety and efficacy of the vaccines, and he wants them to be immediately distributed to the priority groups. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Department of Agriculture issued a new suggested retail price, or SRP, for wholesale pork to be sold in the National Capital Region. This amid the implementation of the palace-ordered price cap. Meanwhile, Quezon City Mayor Joy Belmonte waives market rental fees for meat vendors who are not able to sell. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
Government officials conducted a price inspection in several markets to determine if the ordered price cap among retailers was being observed. With the supply from Mindanao and Visayas in transit to Metro Manila, officials want to assure that pork vendors will be able to purchase the pork from traders at a lower price. With this, the Department of Agriculture has set a suggested retail price for wholesale pork.
Yung SRP for wholesale ay 235 pesos para mayroon ng masapat na kita ng trader doon o yung wholesaler. O tapos ibigay na sa retailer, sa vendors, sapat pa rin yung kita niya within the price cap.
Supermarkets are also willing to help in selling pork at a lower price. As for imported pork, Secretary Ramon Lopez of the Department of Trade and Industry said he will oblige supermarkets and public market vendors to put proper labels on pork to determine the imported from locally produced meat.
Kasi kung imported ito at mas mura na ipasok dito, ay sigurado dapat ang presyo rin nila mas mababa.
Meanwhile, Quezon City Mayor Joy Belmonte is waiving the market rental fees for meat vendors who are not able to sell. The idea will also be recommended to Metro Manila mayors.
Only 10% sa ating pong public markets ang nagkaroon ng mga vendors na nagbebenta ng baboy at 21% po kahapon ng mga private markets ang nagtinda ng baboy within the price ceiling. Sa public markets, definitely kapag wala kayong tinda, hindi kayo magbabayad ng pwesto ninyo. No? Gusto natin i-waive yung mga rental fees. At ganun din sa mga private markets.
MMDA Chairman Benhur Abalos vowed to help enforce standardized measures on all LGUs to ensure that the price ceiling will be implemented across all markets in the metropolis. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The government is planning to increase the minimum access volume or MAV allocation for pork importation in the country. Agriculture Secretary William Dar revealed that the MAV Advisory Council recently endorsed to expand the MAV allocation from 54,000 metric tons to 388,790 metric tons. This is one of the proposals of the Department of Agriculture to respond to the shortfall in the supply of pork products in the market. The MAV Management Committee, chaired by the DA and composed of other government agencies, will have to discuss the recommendation of the MAV Advisory Council. Aside from this, DA also wants to reduce the tariff for pork imports and recommends not only traders but also hog raisers to import pork.
Yung existing MAB quota natin ay nasa 54,000. Ang in-endorse kahapon ng MAB Advisory Council ay itong deficit na 388,790. So more or less 400,000 yon. So MAB plus ang tawag natin po yon.
For those watching us on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on the right side of your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook.
Presidential spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque is currently under isolation after he revealed that one of his staff tested positive for the coronavirus. The palace official denied allegations he violated quarantine protocols when he went on a side trip in Boracay. Rosa Licos will tell us why.
Presidential spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque clarified that he was not exposed with his staff member who tested positive with COVID-19 when he went diving in Boracay on Saturday. The palace official went to Iloilo on Friday for a meeting and had a side trip in Boracay on Saturday without his staff members. He was exposed to his staff member who has been tested positive when he arrived at the airport in Manila on Sunday. Dive Gurus Boracay, the diving site where Roque went, clarified in a statement that the palace official was alone during his visit and he did follow the safety protocols.
Yung trip po to Visayas, wala pa akong exposure doon. At hindi ko po kasama sa Visayas yung staff ko na nag-positive.
Secretary Roque, who is under isolation, said he always makes sure to follow the safety protocols whenever he visits various parts of the country.
I always have a reason to go out, but I always take advantage po of where I am. But I never violate the rules. So sa mga kritiko ko po, pasensya na po, lawyer, law professor, I'm 100% compliant with the rules.
This is not the first time that the palace official was criticized for visiting tourist destinations, but Roque reasoned that it is his personal advocacy to promote the country's tourism sector. Rosa Licos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Philippines' total number of COVID-19 cases reached more than 540,000 after the Department of Health confirmed 1,235 new infections today. The country's overall tally currently stands at 540,227. The DOH also reported 53 new recoveries, bringing the total recoveries to 499,764. As to the new number of deaths, 65 new deaths were recorded, which means that there are now a total of 11,296 fatalities due to COVID-19. There remain 29,167 active cases in the country. Moreover, the health department said 59 cases that were previously tagged as recovered were reclassified as deaths after final validation. Meanwhile, 8 labs were not able to submit their data to the COVID-19 data repository system on February 8, 2021.
Transport network company OWTO is under fire from its members over their current policies. Partner drivers are accusing the company of using a kill switch system that endangers the lives of the riders, but OTO denied such allegations. Joan Nano tells us why.
Several riders trooped in front of LTFRB's central office in East Avenue, Quezon City today to protest against the transport network company Auto. They are condemning the LTFRB's approval to renew the accreditation of Auto despite of several complaints against the TNC. The drivers were complaining over the alleged 15,000 payment for the application of their provisional authority or franchise. But up to now, they have not received their franchise and that they are unable to operate because they are considered as colorum vehicles with the absence of a provisional authority. The group is demanding to abolish the kill switch system of the company. The system is used to prevent a vehicle to be stolen. But according to the drivers, Auto has the ability to control and stop the engine of their vehicles even without a prior notice. This happens when they fail to pay the monthly amortization of their vehicles provided by the company.
Yung mga sasakyan namin, may mga aparatong quick switch na kung saan anytime pwede na lang patayin po kung umaandar ka man at medyo risko sa safety namin. Kagaya na lang po sa akin, sa father ko po. Yung father ko po, nagbabiyahe. May pasahero po siya. Then, from BGC papuntang Pasig, bigla na lang namatay yung sasakyan sa kalagitnaan ng C5. Imagine, wala man lang kahit anong notice, napapatayin namin ang sasakyan mo.
Kapwa natin Pilipino, rinoko kami. Kapwa Pilipino, dapat pagmalasagitan ka, di ba? Linalamangan ka pa eh. Una, tinabyahe kami ng kolorum. Tinabyahe kami na walang prangkisa. Para makabayad lang kami sa financing company. Unfair yung ginawa nila. Hindi nila kami kinausap. Tapos, malalaman mo na lang sa website ng LTFRB, granted yung ano nila. Parang kalukuhan naman yun.
The president of Auto, Joel Gayod, clarifies that the 15,000 pesos is a payment for the membership fee and not for the franchise application. Gayod also denied they are using the kill switch system to their members who fail to pay their monthly amortization.
Unfortunately, there are some elements, the bad elements, who are really out to discredit the company. Yeah. So itong 15,000, this is not for provisional authority kasi bawal yan. Hindi totoo na papatayan sa gitna ng kalsada. Of course not. Dapat hindi kasi una-una delikado yun. Hindi kayo pwede magpatay ng makina na hindi nasa garahe ang kotse.
On the other hand, LTFRB Chairman Martin Douglas said that they will issue a show cause order to Auto to explain the complaints of their partner drivers and vows to impose corresponding penalties if these accusations are proven off.
Obviously, we're going to issue a show cause order on Auto. So yung sinasabi niyo pong sanction, that would be at the end of this investigation process that we're going to undertake.
Joanna, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Former Senator J.V. Ejercito appeared in today's Senate Committee on Public Services hearing to clarify some provisions of the Republic Act 11229 or the Child Safety in Motor Vehicles Act, which he principally sponsored at the Senate. Ejercito pointed out that bringing of child car seats when riding public utility vehicles such as taxis and transport network vehicle services are not mandatory, though encouraged. Section 9 of the law, commonly known as the Child Car Seat Law, states that the DOTr shall conduct a study first and recommend to Congress the use of child restraint systems in public utility vehicles.
Optional to at hindi po mandatory kung kayo ay sasakay ng taxis or mga Grab. Nagkaroon po tuloy ng confusion, ng outrage dahil sa kakulangan sa informasyon. Sinabi po nila i-implement na kagad kinabukasan, gayong hindi pa alam ng taong bayan kung ano ba ang ibig sabihin po nito. Ang problema po ay hindi po yung batas, kundi ang planong implementasyon.
The Department of Transportation admits they could have done more in the preparation for the implementation of the law if not for the pandemic.
We also recognized when we were supposed to have a seminar last March 19, they said 2020 po, Madam Chair. It was cancelled due to the fact that we were already in lockdown at that time.
The DOTr reiterates that they will focus first on information dissemination before fully implementing the law. The agency also suggested to the Senate to pass a measure that will formally defer the implementation of the Child Car Seat Law. Meanwhile, some senators have urged the Transportation Department, along with the Land Transportation Office, to suspend its Private Motor Vehicle Inspection System, or PMVIS, for now, while the country is still battling a pandemic. According to some local authorities, they were also not consulted by the LTO before implementing the program.
It's unfair na in-implement nila
na walang consultation ng local governments. The cost of inspection and inspection, ma'am, is really burdensome to our people. Ang dami nang nawalan ng trabaho, ang dami mong ngayong panahon dito na nangangailangan ng assistance of the government, and then ita-timing pa natin ngayon ang pag-implement nito. I think government must be sensitive enough on the plight of our people. Wag naman sa panahong ito.
There were also complaints from car owners against some motor vehicle inspection centers, such as inaccurate results, absence of technical experts, and instances where they have to go back several times after failing the tests.
So dito po nakita ko, sabi ko, parang kung gusto kang ibagsak, pwede. Kung gusto kang ipasa, pwede. Kawawa naman po kung yung mga kababayan natin na lalo na tamang-tama lang yung ginagastos nila sa testing, bumabagsak, pabalik-balik.
LTO Chief Assistant Secretary Edgar Galvante defended the program, noting that private motor vehicle inspection centers were established to ensure the roadworthiness of cars and lowered the risks of road accidents. He adds they have already suggested to slash the inspection fee, which costs 1,500 to 1,800 pesos.
Parang naging reference price lang po yun. At in fact, in our discussion with the owners of the MBICs, sinasuggest po namin na kung pwedeng ibaba pa, considering na yun nga po sa panahong ngayon, talagang medyo mahirap pong kitain ang halagang yon.
But some senators said there is a possibility that there are individuals who could be making a profit out of the program.
Ibig sabihin, niro-roll out na ninyo itong proseso na ito with only 23 centers, which by the way, we don't even know how you had come up with giving licenses to those 23 centers. That's why I would like transparency here. Sino ang mga may-ari ng center na yan?
In other news, the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology allays fears over the swelling of TAAL volcano's crater. Nina Armilio will tell us why.
In a report by the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PHIVOLCS, the TAAL volcano has recorded about 41 volcanic earthquakes within 24 hours. On a video shot by Marlon Abuyo, the TAAL volcano crater lake could be seen seething and releasing steam. But according to PHIVOLCS, this activity is normal since the volcano is active and remains on alert level 1. The agency also allays fears over the inflation or swelling of the volcano's crater. Authorities, however, advise the public to be vigilant and ready for when the situation worsens. PHIVOLCS assures it will notify the public about any changes or development in TAAL volcano's activities. The volcano island remains restricted and closed to any resident, being a danger zone. Nina Armilio, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
For those watching us on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on the right side of your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook.
The World Health Organization mission to China did not find enough evidence to determine that COVID-19 was spreading in Wuhan before December 2019. The team also said that it had not found animal hosts responsible for transferring the virus to humans. Peter Ben-Embarek, the head of the WHO mission, says that the laboratory incident hypothesis is extremely unlikely to explain the introduction of the virus into the human population.
And for the news abroad, here's Stephanie C. reporting live from Hong Kong.
Good evening, William. Myanmar's new military rulers issued decrees and restrictive measures that effectively banned the public's peaceful protests. Navy and Doug will give us the details live.
Steph, Myanmar's two biggest cities, Yangon and Mandalay, are currently under curfew between 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. local time, as a result of the many protests around the country that were demanding the military to hand the power back to the elected officials. Gatherings and rallies of more than 5 people were banned along with motorized processions. These restrictions were issued on a township-by-township basis and were expected to be extended to other areas in the country. The restrictions were imposed after the police have fired water cannons at hundreds of protesters in the capital Naypyidaw, where some appeared to be hurt when they were knocked to the ground. The Ministry of Information claims on a statement that was read on MRTV, state television station, that the protests were endangering the country's stability and that illegal actions will be taken to prevent these acts. The growing defiance from the protesters, including civil servants and families, is striking, considering the country's past demonstrations have been met with deadly force. Meanwhile, Senior General Min Aung Hlaing, military commander who led the coup and is now Myanmar's leader, said on his first speech to the public since the takeover that his junta will hold new elections in a year as promised, and explained their intended policies for COVID-19 control and the economy. Furthermore, it has been reported that 4 people were hurt by rubber bullets as the police fired into air to disperse the protests in Naypyidaw. Steph?
Maeve, have there been any updates on the officials that the junta have detained, or have any of them been released?
Steph, Aung San Suu Kyi is still under house arrest, as well as around 165 people who are mostly politicians that have been detained since the coup, with just 13 released, according to Assistance Association for Political Prisoners. Aside from that, an economist at Australia's Macquarie University, Sean Turnell, who was also an advisor to Suu Kyi's government, was detained on Saturday under unclear circumstances. Back to you, Steph.
Thank you, Maeve and Doug, reporting live from Australia. As part of China's bid to achieve carbon neutrality by 2060, Beijing redoubles its efforts on hydropower dam projects in Tibet, even though these have drawn criticism from locals and environmentalist groups. Marvi Delphine will give us the details live. Marvi?
The Chinese government plans to construct a super hydropower dam along the mainstream of the Yarlung-Changpo River in Tibet in its 14th five-year plan for 2021 to 2025. The plan claimed that the hydropower dam would be meaningful for the environment, national security, living standards, and international cooperation. According to the chairman of Power Construction Corp of China, Yan Zhiyong, the new dam could help generate up to 60 gigawatts of power, 3 times that of central China's Three Gorges Dam on the Yangtze River, which has the largest installed hydropower capacity in the world at present. The project has drawn heightened tensions to the states on India's border, which is just 30 kilometers away. The Yarlung-Changpo, being the world's highest river, has a geopolitical significance besides the sacredness attributed to it by Tibetan people. Indian authorities believe the addition of the super hydropower dam will not only be used as a political tool by the CCP, but will harm agriculture and water resources, and will even have an unfavorable seismological and ecological impact. The Tibetan rivers provide drinking water to an estimated 1.8 billion people in countries including China, India, and Bhutan, and authorities in India and Bangladesh are concerned Chinese dam projects will not only create water scarcity but also trigger flash floods. A spokesperson for India's ministry in charge of managing its water resources said it would respond with a 10-gigawatt project on Brahmaputra River. It is unclear whether a multilateral discussion has been held between nations bordered by the Tibetan Plateau. Diplomatic relations between India and China are at its lowest points, with troops locked in a border face-off in the western Himalayas for months. Back to you, Steph.
All right, Marvi, thank you for that live report. A hacker was able to gain access to the water system of a city in Florida, attempting to poison the water supply. Miguel Rey de Leon will tell us why.
Law enforcement officials are investigating who is responsible for attempting to poison the water supply in Oldsmar, Florida. According to authorities, a hacker was able to gain remote access of the computer that was controlling the water treatment system in the city on Friday. The hacker was able to briefly increase the amount of sodium hydroxide from about 100 parts per million to 11,100 parts per million. Sodium hydroxide or lye is an ingredient in liquid drain cleaners, and small amounts of it is used to remove metals from drinking water and control the acidity. Large amounts, however, could cause serious problems. Fortunately, a worker was able to spot the problem and reverse the hacker's actions.
Importantly, the public was never in danger. Even if the plant operator had not quickly reversed the increased amount of sodium hydroxide, it would have taken between 24 and 36 hours for that water to hit the water supply system, and there are redundancies in place where the water had been checked before it was released.
The county sheriff's office, along with the Federal Bureau of Investigation and Secret Service, are now jointly investigating the breach. No arrests have been made so far, and the hacker remains to be unknown if it was done within or outside the country.
But the important thing is to put everybody on notice. And I think that's really the purpose of today, is to make sure that everyone realizes these kind of bad actors are out there. It's happening. So really take a hard look at what you have in place.
Florida Senator Marco Rubio called the attack a national security, making sure that all necessary assistance is given in the investigation. Miguel Rey de Leon, UNTV News and Rescue, USA. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
South Korea kicks off its COVID-19 tests for house pets who have been exposed to their owners infected with the virus. Early Briones reports.
The Seoul Metropolitan Government declared that the capital's pet owners can request their pets to get tested for COVID-19 for free. Cats and dogs who have come into contact with infected humans are all eligible to get tested. The animal testing was initiated after the country reported on the 24th of January its first confirmed case of a cat infected by COVID-19. The cat belonged to a mother and daughter who were attending a religious ceremony where dozens of other people also tested positive for the virus. Seoul City officials stated that there are no solid evidences yet of animal-to-human transmissions. However, there are already significant cases around the world which suggest highly possible human-to-animal transmissions. Such cases have majorly involved cats and dogs, lions in Spain, 2 gorillas at California's San Diego Zoo, and numerous mink farms in Denmark. The Seoul testings are reported to target symptomatic pets that suffers from fevers, coughs, runny nose, and breathing difficulties for now. Health workers who will conduct the test will attend near the animal's home, supervised by a veterinarian. Pets that test positive will also undergo a quarantine period of 14 days at home. However, if their owner are also positive, the animals are to isolate in a separate animal shelter. The free testing was due to commence last Monday, and other areas around the capital are expected to follow its lead. Early Briones, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And those are the news in the other parts of the globe. For those watching us on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on the right side of your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook. Back to you, William.
Thank you, Stephanie C., live from Hong Kong.
And those are the reasons behind the news, February 9, 2021. I am Herlene Delgado.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. Sitting in for Angelo Castro III, I am Kat Dumaraos, live from Bangkok, Thailand.
Because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.